whatever information I have gathered on this particular topic has been on the basis of data available online. I have restricted myself to a few countries, and in those countries, only one major act, so that confusion is avoided. This is the way that my presentation would take. I am keeping it very short. So, as a way of introduction, I would like to tell you, of course you know this logically also, that coastlines and seas have been of historical importance the world over. Why? We know that commerce flourished. Commerce flourished through sea routes. Defense was an integral part of any country, and it was primarily through ships and the navy that defense was dealt with. So harbors, dredging, defense were, of course, a very important part of any country. Then, of course, fish. We feed on fish. The world feeds on fish. Fisheries are an extremely important part for any country. And recreation. So for any XYZ country, if you pick up, I'm sure you'll find a plethora of acts which will deal with these aspects. But there has been a very perceptible change that is taking place in the policies and the acts of countries that I have just read. And among the recent additions are that people are becoming more and more sensitive towards the ecosystem, biodiversity, sustainable aspect, the stakeholder recognition and involvement of stakeholders into these acts, etc., and climate change to a certain extent. So let's begin with USA. India loves USA. Coastal Zone Management Act 1972. Now you'll see that this is among the oldest laws to pertain to coastal zone management. And it is a really unique act in the sense that it is not an imposition. It is more of a voluntary process. The federal government is encouraging the states to submit plans for their own coastal areas. These plans will be assessed by a very dignified and learned group of people, and they will try to assess those plans on these bases, whether it is ecosystem-centric or not, whether it is biodiversity-friendly or not, and of course, whether it is doing sustainable management, everything. And on that basis, the states are given funds. So instead of a danda chalao aspect, it is a money-oriented issue. And another thing that this is not a part of the Coastal Zone Management Act per se, but US has several other acts also, such as the Estuarine Resources Act and the Beach Act, in which they are paying special attention to the estuaries and beaches. In Canada, if you'll see the map of Canada, it has got lots of islands, and that is why the coastline length of Canada is largest. And unfortunately, compared to a large coastline, it has got a regulation which is really not very toothy. And in fact, it came quite late. But, and over here also, we don't see much of regulation. But yes, one thing that I came to see in this act was that staggeringly high penalty was charged if somebody broke these regulations. So a precautionary approach, as I have mentioned, and concept of marine protected areas. Again, this concept of marine protected areas, which can be somewhat akin to our CRZ1, has been common thread in several acts that I have gone through. Then it can be seen in the UK Act also, among the European Union, the Marine and Coastal Access Act. In UK, there has been a huge number of acts, but this Marine and Coastal Access Act has been given a clear hierarchy. It has, the act has clearly got transfer of power from several other acts, or it nullifies several old acts. So there's no scope of confusion between the existing acts. That is one good thing about the UK legislation regarding to the coast. And of course, the concept of marine protection zone that I have mentioned. Denmark has slightly more strict regulation. Like they have got these fixed points at 300 meters beyond you cannot do. They have also done some zonations on the basis of urban area, rural area. And they have EIA in place, and their priority areas are tourism. According to this act, I'm not saying that Denmark per se has this. So it is Denmark and this act, which is one of the major important acts regarding coastal management, which says these. Then in South Africa also, there has been a good act in place. They talk about coastal protection, and fixed arbitrary boundaries are there, but they are in talks of removing it. They are something akin to our 500-meter, 100-meter lines, but there are talks of removing them. China, as you know, China, the president's orders come. They are not really acts or laws. It's the president's act. Order. So over here also, the most important thing that I could make out was the marine function zoning, and everything on the basis of the marine function that you could decide which activity could be zoned where. Australia has less of federal level legislation and more of state level legislation. Nearly 70% of Australian laws are state level. And here I could find special stress on climate change, hazard line, and islands were included here. The islands have been included in several other country acts also. And the interesting thing that I could find here was that they even talk about the air in the coastal area, air pollution in that coastal area, and even noise pollution. So they are more inclusive. Apart from seabed, soil, subsoil, and water, they have included air as well as noise. And New Zealand, sorry, another two things that I could find in New Zealand was municipal authorities were responsible for implementation of this act. And here also it was one of the earliest acts where there was a very clear hierarchy among the existing acts. It replaced a lot of old acts and supplemented this particular act. So the common global features that I could find out after reading some of these acts were that, as I said, sustainable development, which is there, different types of legislation accepted in different countries specific to their needs. Now, what is good for the goose need not be good for the gander. So it's actually very, very typical for a country to have a certain set of laws. It may or may not pertain to other countries. Existing administrative bodies, all laws talk about this almost, that there should be good coordination, there should be no confusion as to who is the authority, who will be the executors. Major activities that they permit are, of course, related to defense, energy, oil, telecommunication, scientific research, and I've missed out on tourism over here. Fragile ecosystems are more or less spared. Now, in our CRZ1, there are too many exceptions, but here, more or less, I could find that the fragile ecosystems were zoned out through marine zoning or marine protected zones, or different names are given, and they were more or less spared. And fixed shoreline boundaries were rare in the acts that I have seen. The slide that Dr. Kulkarni shared has shown actually that the USA and UK have flexible boundaries, but the others don't. The acts I saw more or less do not prescribe a fixed shoreline boundary. In fact, the act in South Africa freely says that fixed shoreline boundaries are arbitrary and should be avoided. Yes, the central level has very little role in actual execution. The key role belongs to the grassroots level, especially state or even municipalities. There's stress on public participation. People are not prevented from accessing the coast, except in a few areas in Denmark. The coastal access is encouraged. Then soil and seabed are included in addition to water. Dumping strictly prohibited, except under certain emergency conditions. And there is a system in place for licensing or leasing or application where the citizen can approach a certain body making a request that he wants to use the sea area for this purpose. And it is allowed, but there is a lot of regular check and renewal. Finally, India and the world. Ownership of coastal property, it varies over the world. Like in China, you can't own. In some European countries, you can't own. In other countries, it is mixed. Formation of coastal regulation zones, another thing where India and the world more or less agree, where the regulations are based on zonation. Coastal water inclusion is also one thing where we are in agreement. Safety according to delicate ecosystems, as I said, in most areas where the zoning has been done, the fragile ecosystems are spared. Fixed setback lines, the laws that I have studied, most countries do not have a fixed setback line. Now, hazard line with climate change in mind, I don't know, most of the countries' coastal regulation acts that I have read, they do not include hazard line concept or climate change. I mean, I don't know whether it's an issue of fools rushing and where angels fear to tread, but most of these countries I saw, they have separate policies on climate change, but their coastal zone management acts are not in particular talking about hazard line or climate change issues. Licensing system. And penalization, many countries are very, very strict with their penalization, especially China and Canada. Hazard line, I'm sorry, it's a repetition of some things. Yeah, islands have been excluded in the CRZ 2011, but almost all the acts that I just discussed, they have included islands into them. Caveats, these caveats have been listed by a site from UNICEF that I've just picked up. Stakeholder representation should be adequate. The law should be very, very clearly spelled out. There should be very good coordination among the executing bodies. The mechanisms for representing conflicting interests is always a problem because there are too many stakeholders. Well-trained staff is a much talked about necessity. Special equipment and technical means must be available, for example, GIS and remote sensing data. Inadequate knowledge on the part of the representatives of an administrative structure on the purpose and tasks of the legislation. So it should be clearly worded and there should be no scope of confusion on any score. And laws should never be applied in isolation from political realities, economic conditions, or without taking into account historical features. In other words, once again, I stress the point, it should be very specific to the country that we are talking about. We should not copy some things from here and there. That's all. Thanks.